Thanks a lot for tuning in to another, not another, but our first week of the Birds of a Feather Flock Together podcast. We want to thank y'all for tuning in. We hopefully we have a great show tonight. We got a great lineup for y'all. A few the Eagle peoples that bleed green, Eagle diehard fans with us tonight. We got my boy Cass and 93 Thunder Fresh. We will be doing this every Monday night except next week, because the Eagles will be on Monday Night Live. So we Monday Night Football. So we'll be doing our show on Tuesday. So once again, we won't be live next week. We'll be live on Tuesday, not Monday. So I'm gonna let the homies that we got on the panel tonight introduce themselves, and we'll go ahead from there. Let us know what city and state y'all from.
All right. I'll go first. I'm from New York. From Queens, New York. Um, yeah, and yeah. Am I supposed to keep going on, or how I became an Eagles fan, or
You can go ahead and just let them know what city and state you're from, and go ahead and let them know how long you've been an Eagles fan. Also, if you'd like to do that, also.
All right. So yeah, cities, Queens. I'm from Hollis, Queens, New York. Um, and I've been an Eagles fan since the Donovan McNabb T.O. era.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And what about you, Thunder Fresh?
It's your boy 93 Thunder Fresh, man. I'm from North Philly. I stay in Erie, Pennsylvania. Still in the PA state, I mean, all birds all the time with me, man. Been an Eagle fan all my life, man.
Real talk, real talk. And this your boy. They call me Superb Kicks. I'm from San Diego, California. I've been a Bird Gang fan since the Randall Cunningham era, since 1988. That'll put a little age on me. You see the little salt and pepper right here, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So that'll put a little age on myself right there. But I've been a Eagles fan since the Randall Cunningham era, and still been riding with the Bird Gang. I got a couple of sons. One of them went the same route. One of them went the Kansas City route. You know what I mean? So I got a 24-year-old and a 19-year-old. And the 24-year-old, my junior, is an Eagles fan, and my little one is a Kansas City Chiefs fan. You know what I mean? So I can't be mad at him. We won't see each other until the Super Bowl. So as long as he ain't in the NFC with us or something like that, then hey, do your thing, young man. Do your thing. All right. So we're going to get into this podcast tonight, you know what I mean, about the topics that we got going on. First one, this is a new one added to the podcast. We didn't see this earlier about Derek Barnett um, getting hurt, tearing his ACL. What y'all think about this injury, and do you think that we have depth on the D line to fill that void right there, or do you feel that we need to sign somebody, JPP or somebody like that, a free agent? Y'all want to elaborate on that? Go ahead, and I'll take it after y'all done.
Yeah. So with that, man, seeing how we adapted and adjusted last night, I wasn't too happy because they was moving Fletcher Cox over to fill that position, and then you would see him, in between after turnovers that he was going to the tent. So
Yeah.
that's more wear and tear on him, and he's a crucial piece of the defense. So I ain't too really happy about that. As far as the depth, I mean, we might be able to make some adjustments. You could put that new rookie from Georgia State where Fletcher is and move him over there, but I don't really think that that'd be a good fit. I would just prefer, like you said, look for a free agent, pick up JPP, and put him there.
Yeah, we got Williams, you know what I mean, out there. We got Josh Sweat, you know what I mean. I feel
Right.
Dean would be too small on the outside. He's too small inside also, you know what I mean, for the run block. That's why he's not a starter, but he's good depth to have right there. I don't feel that he would be a starter unless, unfortunately, we have another injury to the linebacker. core, but I don't see him being in the game unless it's maybe a third down when we knowing they got to pass and we need coverage. He may be a little quicker than the other linebackers or something like that. You know what I mean? That's the only way that I see Dean playing. I don't see him, on the edge rushing. He's really too small for that right there. Them tight ends and tackles and manhandling them right there. Thunder Fresh, what's your input with the Barnett injury? Can you hear me? All right, I think he's stuck right there. So we're gonna go ahead and move on in since he ain't able to conversate with us and whatnot. So we'll move on and see if he's able. There you go. You back now, Thunder Fresh? Can you hear me? I guess he's going again. So we'll let you chop it up about the keys to the victory yesterday, Cass, and then we'll hop in, and then we'll bring in one of the guests for the show, and then we'll let him also get his input on that also.
Okay. Major keys to the victory yesterday, to be honest, in my opinion, was the RPO. How we were utilizing that with Jalen regaining yards, getting those first downs. Our third down conversion percentage was high. I think that was the one of the crucial keys to the victory yesterday's victory. Miles Sanders doing his thing as well. And how we were utilizing the run. Not so much. I wish we would have utilized the run a little bit more, but that's another topic. And that connection between AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, that was a big key. That opened up a lot of plays for us with them.
Yeah, my Joni acting up.
We can hear you now. Yeah, you kind of going in and out, big dog, and now you pause, and there you go. He didn't left. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna talk about the keys to the victory. Also, you can see the score. You know how we was up in the first quarter, 7-0. They was up 7-0. They struck first. Then we came back and tied the game, and then we went up 24-14 and by halftime. And so at the end of the day, though, when we went up by halftime, we came out and then we was up, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 31-17 at one point, or 31-14 at one point, and 31-14 in the third quarter. And then they came out and they just scored and scored and scored and scored, and we didn't be able to respond at all. We didn't, like you see, we got a nugget in the fourth quarter, which was, I don't feel that offensive wise was productive. We put up 38, yes, but it wasn't rhythm 38. You get what I'm saying? I didn't feel that on the offense side of the ball. I didn't feel that we had rhythm. Like I was mentioning to you earlier, Cass, like one or two plays besides the AJ Brown play, everything was RPO. It wasn't a scripted play. Look, do this, and once Hurts had to run out the pocket, everything was freestyle. You know what I mean? It was come back to the quarterback, get open, stuff like that. And if not, he got to run for the first down, and stuff like that. I just didn't feel offense. That 38 is basically is saying a lot, but it's not saying a lot as far as the offense. If you watch the game, I feel we should have had 50 points in them catch yesterday. So to get to my keys to victory would be Miles Sanders coming in clutch with that third down run, that 3rd and 1 run. And then also the offense, Jalen Hurts. I'm going to give him 100% of credit of yesterday's game. Right. He was the MVP. I'm going to give him the game ball. If it wasn't for him, we would have got smacked up yesterday. You know what I mean? Right. And I feel that was one of the major keys to victory. And also defense. They stepped it up. If you I mentioned, look at the third quarter. That was 38-21. When we was up, at one time, until they came out and then hit us with 14 straight points. Defense did their thing, and then you can't do too much as a coach. I mean, as a player, when your coaches is calling a certain play for you to run on the defensive scheme. You see what I'm saying? So with them being prevent. So I'm gonna go into here because I'm supposed to be talking about keys to victory, and I'm just lingering on about the defense and stuff like that. But that was the key victory. Key things to victory for me was the way the defense played in the beginning. D-line pressure, especially our linebackers, and then also Jalen Hurts in the running game did a whole lot. I didn't feel that we did too much to manipulate the Detroit Lions, but I feel we did just enough. Right. And Thunder Fresh, are you good now? Yeah, I think he's still kind of paused with his sound. So I'm gonna go ahead and let one of the guests in. We got a cat named Alan coming on right now. I'm gonna let him hop on and let him discuss the keys to the victory to yesterday's game, and we'll go from there. Hey, what's going on, Alan?
How you doing, guys?
Hey, how you doing today? You want to introduce yourself? Where you from? How long you been an Eagles fan?
Well, my name's Alan. I'm originally from Philadelphia. I grew up there, lived there for 28 years, so I've been an Eagles fan my entire life.
Sounds about right.
I think the biggest thing that helped us win that game is that pick six that we had.
Oh yeah,
Without
yes, sir.
that, what's that?
Sir. No, I said yes, sir. That was one of the things that I did mention also, but you're 1,000% correct.
Without that, I think we lost, to be honest. Jalen Hurts, he's getting better, in my opinion. I wasn't a big fan of him. But yesterday, especially with that 50-yard pass, I will say he has improved in the passing compared to last year. I would like to see him, though, look down the field instead of just running the ball. You know what I mean? He had quite a few open people that were open, but he took off running, and that's going to get him hurt. And we don't need that.
Preach.
But our running game has to get a lot better, and he has to let Miles be able to run the ball instead of just holding on to it.
Yeah, that's what I said a lot too. That key point that you mentioned with him running the ball a lot, it's going to end up getting him hurt, and we don't have a good backup. We got Minshew, all that, but I don't see him being able to run this offense the same way that Jalen runs the offense. But that pick six was guaranteed key to victory for yesterday's game, 1,000% in my opinion.
And when you just said Minshew, yeah, he's not a running quarterback. He's a passing quarterback. And always our offenses are always set up for a running quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. We always do better with a running quarterback.
Yeah, you only gonna last so long until you get hurt or something like that with that. So that's why at the end of the day you gotta run things to get quick hits, to get the wide receivers open and things like that with that nature, because I didn't see none of that yesterday. It was a lot of long developing plays where you didn't see the wide receivers getting open or anything like that yesterday. And that was the thing, because you're having them run more than 10 yards and you're having Jalen sit in the pocket for 4 to 5 seconds before, if he had to. He was basically having to stand in the pocket for 3 to 4 seconds, and you should have been having the ball out, and he wasn't able to do that. And I feel that the offensive line need to tighten up, and the defensive line needs to tighten up. Them supposed to be our strongest points in our on our team right now in the trenches, and I don't feel that we are as strong as we're supposed to, and that comes from coaching, not playing them during the preseason and getting that cohesiveness amongst each other. And I just feel that that's what's going to hurt us. And now these are our preseason games right here. You get what I'm saying, with them being able to play. And I hope Minnesota don't come. We'll get into that next week. I mean, in a little bit longer. But we
and I agree with you 100%. That's where he's still young, because if you notice when Victor and McNabb was playing, whenever they didn't have a play, they were able to extend the play for 5 to 10 seconds to let a play happen before they would take off running. And that's where it shows with Hurts, where him being young and still having to learn. You know what I mean? He has a lot to learn still. And everybody that's saying, oh, Hurts this, Hurts that, Hurts is horrible, or Hurts is great, they don't realize he's still learning. He has a lot to learn. You know what I mean? That's why, to me, I say he still has a lot to prove because he has a lot to learn still.
Yeah, that's big facts. That's in a lot of rookie quarterbacks, and then also, not rookies, but young quarterbacks. And then look at what he had coming up through college, and then now in the NFL. When he was with Alabama, he lost his job to Tua, then went over to Oklahoma. So that's a different playbook right there. And then from there, you're going into the NFL. Then you came in with Doug and them learning one offense, and now you're with a different offense. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, and he was thrown in a position that wasn't the best position either. He was thrown in mid-season in a horrible season at that. You know what I mean? And they just throw the team on his shoulders. And the other thing I think that's really hurt him is not playing in the preseason.
Facts.
Not playing in the preseason. People say, no, you don't play your starters in the preseason. Well, look what happens when you don't.
Man. And then now, like I mentioned, these are our preseason games right here, right now that we got going on. We're going to move forward. You know, I don't want this to be a long podcast. We're going to be in here less than an hour. I just want to touch base with a few things. It's the first week. I just want it to be real intimate. You know, I didn't want too many people to be on the panel and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I had a few other folks. So next week, we're going to try to do it a little bigger. But I just wanted this one to be a quick one, in and out. Just, you know, get our feet wet with this podcast with those that's new to what we're doing right here. So we're going to talk about the offense right now besides Jalen Hurts. What did y'all think about the running back core? We got three people, should I say, besides Jalen Hurts score running touchdowns with Miles, Kenny, and Boston Scott. So what do y'all think that with the running back duels that we have right now? Do you think that Trey is a good addition with a bigger back than what we got right now? And do you think that we will be able to go far with the running back duel that we have, meaning 4, not dual, meaning 2? What you think about that, Cass?
It'd be better if we had a big running back like Howard. In my opinion.
You said what now, Cass?
Yeah. I would say that I like the duo that we have now, with Miles Sanders and Boston Scott. You know, I'm a big advocate for Boston Scott. He reminds me a lot of Darren Sproles. You know, as far as his work ethics out there on the field, for given his size. And what was the other thing you said about adding who else onto the roster?
We got Trey Sermon from the 49ers. And he's a bigger back. I don't know if you was familiar or been paying attention to that right there. He wasn't in the game yesterday. He didn't get in the game yesterday, but he's a bigger back, little bigger back than what we have right here than Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott, and Miles Sanders. But I don't feel that he's a bruiser back like a Blunt or Howard or something like that, but he's bigger than what we have, and that's what we're gonna have to utilize him, like a Blunt or something like that. You get what I'm saying? So that's what we're gonna have to take what we got from right there. But I feel that the running back core is decent. I want to honestly get into the wide receiver core a little bit right now while we can. I want to talk about AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, about them not getting the cohesiveness on like I thought that they would with Jalen Hurts, reading the progressions. And when AJ wasn't available, which he being number 1, that you look to your progressions and you go to your number 2 or something like that. And I didn't see him do that a lot. It was like once AJ wasn't free, he was basically scrambling, running out the pocket. and I didn't feel that was necessary in certain points. And what y'all think about that? And basically, we didn't get any targets for Quez. We got him back there on punt returns and stuff like that. What are y'all thinking about the wide receiver core and Jalen Hurts yesterday?
Where it's hard when he doesn't have the time to be able to throw the ball. When the other team keeps splits and then our offensive line isn't giving him any time. And especially when the coach ain't doing no quick slants or anything.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, you got to run quicker routes to open up that, to avoid that, because basically you're going to have him sitting in the pockets, and you're just going to have the defensive line and linebackers teeing off on him and making him scramble the pocket and make it have to exit as soon as possible. Cass, what do you think about the wide receivers that we got going on right now? And you can add Dallas Goedert into that also, with the cohesiveness that you see on the field right now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it would be hard to really gauge cohesiveness, as yesterday's game was very much biased between Hurts and AJ Brown. Yeah, he got some, he threw to other people, but to add on what Alan was saying, that blitz was forcing them to either get rid of it or him to start, scrambling. So that didn't really give him time to, make better decisions. I believe he could have made better decisions, because when you look at some of the highlights, there were some people open at times when he decided to, start running.
Big facts.
But I feel like, it was, listen, at the end of the day, that was game 1 of the season. You know what I mean? So I still know that we still gonna dominate. I feel like there's some cohesiveness there. And Devontae Smith, man, I wanted to see him, even though he didn't get a lot of passes thrown to him, but the ones that came to him, he made a catch, and I believe he dropped a couple. I want to see him, make more catches. And like you said, Quez too. Quez being at the punt, man, I ain't really too happy about that. I wanted to see Quez get more catches as well. Like, we got some weapons, but I believe yesterday's game was just really to emphasize on the AJ Brown Hurts connection, because that was a big thing. That was a big trade for us.
Yeah, and at the same time, Smitty caught one, but it got called back for holding, and a couple of targets was just thrown at him, just was basically throwaways, like running out the pocket and just dump it away and stuff like that. I didn't feel that they had cohesiveness like I wanted them to, like they had last season, because basically I'm right. Keep it 100. I'm put this on the line. I wasn't a big Jalen Hurts fan, not really a big Jalen Hurts fan, and yesterday I became a Jalen Hurts fan. If it wasn't for him, we don't get that W. You get what I'm saying? So right. I'm gonna go ahead and take that from there and give him his props, give him his flowers. You know what I mean? And if it was, like I said, if it wasn't for him yesterday, we would have lost that game by like double-digit points, by at least 2 touchdowns. You know what I mean? That's guaranteed. And so the offensive line is who I want to put that blame on instead of Jalen Hurts. He didn't have time. He had to scramble out the pocket. We in the groups, we say he can't read the defense and stuff like that. But at the same time, he's not getting enough time to do that. So how do we expect him to sit back there and go through his and progressions and go through the first, the second, third read like a normal quarterback does that can't run because they have no other option and just throw it away? He can use his legs when he feel pressure coming. That's his first instinct, is to run and get away. And that's another thing that Nick, the coaching staff, got to break also, because it was like you mentioned, I seen on several different plays, there was several different people open when he's looking at AJ, and then if he's not open, I'm running. You know what I mean? And that's not good. You're going to hear it at practice tomorrow. Practice tomorrow, you're going to hear about that and everything. And then, of course, text messages, stuff like that from his real folks that she's telling the real. And he looked good, but he could have looked great yesterday. And he was our savior on that team yesterday, 100%. And I'm going to give him his kudos to that right there, because the running backs didn't do too much besides Miles Sanders. They didn't get too many opportunities, you know what I mean, to do so. So we can't put them on those. We can't put that on the running backs yesterday. They got to block a little better. You know, that's what they do have to do. The wide receivers got to run better routes, you know what I mean, to get open. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of routes that was lazy routes when you knowing the ball ain't coming to you and you just stop giving effort. Then was them type of routes yesterday that you were seeing towards the end. And then the tight end, Dallas Goedert, you know what I mean? He didn't get too many opportunities. He basically turned into a glorified, highest paid offensive lineman yesterday. You know what I mean? A lot of blocking and stuff like that. So that's basically the offense in a nutshell yesterday. We got to do better. I'm glad we did what we did, but we got to do a lot better moving forward, especially playing Minnesota next week. And then let's hop into the defense, and then we can hop into the coaching staff next.
That's what I want to get into, the coaching.
Yeah. So far as the defensive line yesterday, it was a lot of hype and stuff going on around about our defense line, and I didn't see any of that yesterday. We got one sack yesterday, and that was on the bad snap that Jared Goff had when it almost went over his head, and then and it went down to the ground, and we got a sack right there. But I seen him look very, very comfortable in that pocket yesterday, and I didn't like that at all. As far as Hargrave, Cox, Davis, they put this stat up yesterday that Davis, when he was in the game, he only allowed 2.8 passing yards per attempt. When he wasn't in there, we allowed 10 and everything like that. But he's not in there on first and second downs and stuff like that. He's in, you know what I mean, like in certain packages. He's not starting, you know what I mean? So that stat is a bunch of baloney, and it's not good at all to put those type of stats in type Eagles group to put the negativity and stuff like that. But I feel the D-line does have to do a lot more far as productivity. Cass, hop on that real quick with the D-line and the linebackers.
Yeah, man. Like just to piggyback off of what you said, like Jared Goff looked real comfortable. Like you said, aside from that bad snap, he was real comfortable. He was getting the ball where he needed to go. Yeah, the D line, and then Fletcher Cox was, they kept he was going back and forth from the tent. So yeah, they could have did way better. Like you said, from the height from the front eight. We should have been getting more sacks. It should have been more pressure. Lions looked way too comfortable yesterday. I agree with that.
And like I mentioned earlier, I don't know if it was in our chat or something like that, but Goff was looking like Derek Carr from last year. Carr from the Raiders last year when they whooped us up. That zone defense, it just ain't going to work, and it's putting our cornerbacks and linebackers in vulnerable positions. You know what I mean? And I feel that they are a lot better than what we seen yesterday. But go ahead, Alan, hop on the defense as far as the D-line and the linebackers, and then we'll finish the defense out with the cornerbacks, and then we'll hop into the coaching staff.
Well, I can't blame the defense at all because the play calling was horrendous. They called how many blitzes yesterday for one?
Yeah, facts.
Maybe not even 5.
They did a lot blitzing in the first half and towards the beginning of the third quarter. But once we went up 38-21, they stopped putting pressure. They stopped basically just running a prevent to not lose the game defense.
And what defensive coach just about every play had your corners playing like 10 yards from the receiver?
Facts.
I don't really blame the defense.
And Kaz, once he's done, go ahead and go into the cornerbacks. I'll be right back.
Yes, sir.
I can't really blame the cornerbacks. I can't really blame the defensive line or anything because Gagnon just doesn't know what he's doing. He was playing soft defense almost the entire game, except for when we had those three and outs in a row. He didn't do nothing after that. And if it wasn't for that 6, all I know is Daniel needs to go. Well, he better get his stuff together quick. I don't know what anyone else feels about that, but
yeah,
that
the way they was playing
play
that
call
zone
was horrible.
Yeah, the way that they was playing the zone at the end, like Marcel said, playing that prevent defense. It just didn't make any sense to me, man. Like, they could have played tighter. They need to play more man, in my opinion. It was putting a lot of pressure on the D backs. You know, yeah, the cornerbacks. I know they have way more potential. I'm not really gonna be, because at the end of the day, we still came out with the W. Um, but today, game one was definitely learned a lot of lesson. I'm curious to see how they handle that moving forward. And I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think that personally, I think that the Eagles might have been a little bit more confident in this game than we should have. I think I was honestly surprised by the final score. So, and I think that the game play reflected that as well from the coaches as well. Because anybody who's hungry, who's playing to win, like they would have switched, they would have made different adjustments after they seen certain things going on.
But at the end of the day, also, I feel it's a win-win for us as Eagles fans. I feel that, like you said, overconfident going into Sunday. They hearing all this hype about them being Super Bowl favorites. They hearing the commentators. They're hearing the fans about how good they are right now and stuff like that. And I feel that nearly, I feel it's easier to make adjustments after a win than a loss. You're more self-absorbent, willing to take criticism after a win. Be like, because like you said, at the end of the day, keeping the buck, we got the win though. You know what I mean? And so I feel that like you can critique somebody more after a win. You know what I mean? And they don't be in their feelings instead of after a loss. And then they, especially like a Darius Slay. Darius Slay. After he got beat on that bomb by the chart or whatever the dude name is, he is more humbling now. You can sit back in the DB room, listen to the coach, and look at film and see that you can do a lot better with different things. You know what I mean? And I just feel that was a humbling situation for our defense, and I'm actually glad that it happened. And then also we're going to jump into the coaching staff right now. Also, it feels that the coaching staff will humble themselves also, especially Gannon. I don't feel that his schemes with the defense, with the shit that he runs, excuse my language, is pro football tactics. I mean, you can do that in a formation when you're up, when he is, and when it's third down in like 21 or something, or third down in 28 or something. Are they going for it on fourth down and the same thing at the end of the game? That's nothing that you do in the second or third quarter. And or if not towards the end of the quarter. I just don't feel that he's appropriate coach for this type of talent that he has on defense, and I don't feel that he knows what to do with it. And this is his first time really having the authority to run a defense as a defensive coordinator, and we need somebody a little more seasoned with these vets that we have here with Reddick, with White, with Slay, with James Berry, with the addition of CJ. Bradsbury. We got players back there that need real coaching and not somebody that they're coaching. You know what I mean? So I'm let y'all get into it with the coaching staff, and I'm gonna hop back in it after y'all done. Go ahead, Alan. I'll let you hop on, and then Cash, you jump in after him.
Well, we just need what we're used to having on a defense is a coach that punches you in the mouth. That's what Philly fans are used to. That's what we expect. We expect our defense just to be like right down, just get out of our way. We're going to hurt you, and we're going to just beat you up. That's what I'm used to with our defenses throughout the years, and not giving you any room to breathe. And Gannon isn't doing that, and I don't see him doing that. Yeah, and like you were saying, with our corners, I could see towards the end of the quarters or towards the end of the game when we're 21 points up or 30 points up, keeping the receivers in front of you. You know what I mean? And giving them those 5 yards and everything. But in the middle of the game, you don't play 10 yards back and give them 5 yards, and then every other play giving them a first down. Any offensive coach is going to take that all day long.
And I'm
You
going to
know what
take
I
on
mean?
every yard you're giving me.
Exactly. But when you're giving them, when you're playing 10 yards off, coach is going to call a 5-yard play every time and take that all day long. And with the
100%.
offense, I think we're doing pretty good. It's just we just got to get more quicker plays going for Hurts to get the ball out of his hands quick.
Rhythm plays to get him going and to make the defense respect it. And then the play action, the RPOs will work 100% better. You know what I mean? Right now,
definitely.
you're in a position, you know that they're not running the ball. So you can rush 3 and drop everybody else back. You know what I mean? And into the box, you know what I mean? Out of the box, so you don't even have to worry about it. That's why the running game does so good towards the middle ends of the game, because the other teams see we've been passing the damn ball all game. They don't run that much, so we're going to play pass first, then run. You know what I mean? And then they're going to take somebody to bust a 70, 50, 60, 70-yard run to score a touchdown on us instead of a pass. You know what I mean? And I feel that's what we got going on right now with the defense not respecting our run. And only reason they're respecting our run is because of Jalen Hurts. They protecting the outsides, making sure he don't get outside the box. That's their key to their defense, not the key to Miles Sanders, Kenny Gainwell, or Boston Scott or anything like that. And I feel that we're totally disrespected. And I hope this week we prove all the naysayers wrong, because from the coaching staff, I feel that they have, besides the defensive line, offensive line, the next ones that I feel have the biggest step-up game this week is the coaching staff all around. And so that's what I want to touch base. Go ahead, Cass. What you want to touch bases on anything with the coaching staff?
On the coaching staff,
you don't got to get too personal or anything like that, but just far as critique, that feeling like, what do you think that they can do better? Or just give us a grade on the coaching staff from week 1.
Right. So on the coaching staff on offense, I will grade us I want to say an 8. We got the job done. We could have done better. We could have ran more plays. I don't like, our quarterback, pretty much our franchise quarterback, being at risk running so many RPOs. He got the legs for it, but look at what happened yesterday with the late hit with homie who got ejected out of the game for the late hit. Like, you start pissing some of these players off, they're gonna be trying to, take out the quarterback, and him having to scramble all the time so frequently, it puts him at high risk. I get it that the NFL is adjusting. That to have a more mobile quarterback is just essential in today's day, to create more options. And you see, even who was it? I believe, who was trying to run the RPO? I believe Detroit tried to start running the RPO and using it against us yesterday.
Yeah.
So as you can see, it's effective in the NFL.
They ate us up on the ground, though.
Huh?
They ate us up on the running game, so that's why the RPO was effective for them. They ate us up.
Yeah, you're right about that.
You got to, as a coaching staff, not to interrupt, but I'm glad you hit that point, because that was something else I mentioned. If you're going to run the RPO, you got to come out run heavy. That's what creates the RPO, the play action, whatever they want to call it. If you're not running the ball, the play action is useless. So if your scheming is coming in as an RPO, as your identity, then you got to come out running the ball the first 10 plays of the game to make the defense respect that. We went the first 15 plays of the game, or 17 plays of the game, if I'm not mistaken, with one run besides the Jalen Hurts scrambling out of the pocket runs. But go ahead, back to your point. I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was something I forgot to mention.
Yeah. So with that, I just want to see more versatility, because I know we got it. We got the weapons for it. So, and I believe we're going to see that as the season progresses. In regards to defense, I agree with what you guys are saying. Like, it just didn't make any sense giving so much cushion. But now looking at the score and looking at what we did, first quarter, we ain't scored. They scored. Second quarter, You know, we came up 24 points in the second quarter, right before the half. So that's a real big confidence booster. You
Big
know, and if you're
facts.
thinking about preserving your players for the rest of the season, it makes a little bit more sense not to press them. You know, not to make them so hungry like dogs in the beginning of the season, especially if you up by that much. So I get it.
Let me let
But
me let me say something else to that point. Let me
mhm.
say something with a coach and me too. You want to take away the team's momentum, they heart, everything while we're up at that point. You're up 31, 38 to 21. Now you score another touchdown, you make them do a 3 and out. You know what I mean? And then you, like I said, you make them do a 3 and out. You score on offense, and then they do a 3 and out again. You take away their momentum, their heart, everything. They're like, this game is over. But when you go back and let a wide receiver, tight end start getting some rhythm with their quarterback, and they just basically throwing it like you throwing it to your son in the front yard, you're going to create momentum. You're going to create cohesiveness, and then that's when they're going to start pounding us, and that's why you end up with a 38 to 35 score with them scoring 14 points. They didn't score no field goals, fam. They all
Mhm.
touchdowns. You know what I mean? We
Mhm.
gave up 35 points to the Detroit Lions. I don't care what kind of jewel or diamond in the rut you want to pull out of the defense and say like we got the W. That's not acceptable on no shape or form with what we did on Sunday, fam.
I
100%.
got you.
The defense
That's a
or
fact.
the offense. You want to put your foot on their throat when you're on offense. We went for one deep ball, fam.
At least we completed it.
That's a fact. That's a
But
fact.
also, you want to get the fans out of it too. You want to shut them up and get them quiet.
Big
Hmm.
facts. In you in Detroit. In
Right,
Detroit.
right.
You know what I mean?
But you know, to go back up to let me just finish this up.
No, go ahead. Do your thing.
Uh in the second half, you know, we was giving them hell. Like they was back-to-back 3 and outs, back-to-back 3 and outs. The only time that they really started you know, getting some real top was in the third quarter, you know. So I believe that that's where the adjustment came from, because the defense was still, we were still getting 3 and outs in the beginning. Look, they only scored once in the first one score in the second, one score in the third, and then at the end of the fourth quarter, that's when they got 14, 2 touchdowns. You know, so they were still getting plays. You know, but if when you look at the numbers, I mean, we could have definitely did better. Absolutely, absolutely.
And so,
Um,
my last point will be with the coaching staff will also it will to elaborate on what you just said right now. They started in the fourth quarter, start getting cohesiveness because we stopped putting pressure on their quarterback. We didn't blitz anymore once we were up. We were playing in a basically a zone defense. I mean a prevent defense when your safety is almost 20 yards off the ball. You know what I mean? If not more. You know what I mean? I just don't understand it. And then your cornerbacks are 12 to 15 yards off the wide receiver. You can do slant routes, you know, quick slant routes, you know, post routes. You can do all that and eat up that zone defense. And then you're just marching yourself down the field. And then when you get in the red zone, then you want to play man, you want to get clamps and all that. You should have been doing that down the field. So that basically you're just going to give up 7 points or easy 3 points every time that the opponent gets the ball. It just doesn't make any sense. And you're putting your offense in a predicament, like you just mentioned. 3 and out, 3 and out. We had like three and outs, like I
mhm.
mean, like maybe four or five in a row 3 and outs at one
Right,
time in the game
right.
when we was putting pressure on Jared Goff because he's scary. He's not going to run. And then wrapping up also is another thing that they need to do with the coaching staff at practice. We looked at really horrible, but that goes back with Allen and like you mentioned and me mentioning about them not playing the starters in the preseason, and then we see the effect right now of them looking rusty. But we're gonna go ahead and jump into the next topic right now. We going in almost over in the show right now. We got about another 10, 15 more minutes. Let's discuss the NFC East other games also. What did y'all take from the NFC East? Go ahead, Cass, and hop on that. Far as the Giants and the Commanders, what did y'all take on to them yesterday in the Cowboys?
To be honest, I didn't get a lot of time to sit down and watch their games. I only had enough time on my day yesterday to watch our game.
Hey
But
man,
looking on, looking at the highlights on the NFL app and stuff like that. Like I told you, like I was a little surprised about how the Giants pulled off that W against Tennessee. So I never sleep on the Giants. I never do. But at the end of the day, they suck. this is our podcast. You know what I mean? So they suck in my book, but they're respectable. The Commanders, they got a lot of young talent, and now they got Carson Wentz. They got a quarterback that they could do something with. So to be honest, in regards to who's going to lead the division, I feel like the Commanders is our biggest contender, especially after what happened with the Cowgirls last night and Dak Dak hurting his hand or whatever. Listen, this is the Birds of a Feather Flock Together podcast, man. So I got to keep it a buck. But um, in regards to division, I feel like we gonna clinch it. I feel like we're gonna clinch the division. Maybe not clinch it, but I definitely we gonna lead the division.
yeah, I feel we'll win the division easily. That's not even an issue, especially with the if we can stay healthy. And my biggest fear was Dak, um, and the Cowboys, because of they not their schedule, but they defensive players. Like they got Diggs and Micah Parsons and the other linebacker. I forgot his name, number 55 or whatever. But they got some bodies back there, and that was the only one that I feel that would give us competition, because I didn't feel Washington nor the Giants would have a good record. You know what I mean? So that's where I come into that. And to get into their games yesterday, I did the same thing. I didn't watch their games. I just seen the highlights, and both of those teams surprised me yesterday. Far as the Commanders and the Giants, they both surprised me yesterday. Carson Wentz, was Carson Wentz out there, threw a couple of picks, turnovers, but led them in the fourth quarter, got a few touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And I feel that that's going to be our biggest competitors right there if their team stays healthy with their young core of wide receivers and their young core of defensive players. Also, especially with our offensive line looking the way that they are. I feel that we're very vulnerable right now, and we can be really exposed next week with the Vikings, and other teams can basically take notes on how Detroit took it to us towards the second half, and imagine them doing that the whole game on us, and then now we're having to make adjustments. So I feel that the NFC is a lock for us, knock on wood, if we can stay healthy. I don't see no team in the division, especially with Dak not coming back till week 10 or week 9 or something like that. I feel week 9 is a bye week for them, so he wouldn't come back till week 10. So I feel that would be an easy division win for us this year.
Well, I can tell you one quarterback that Dallas could go for. Senate.
Yeah.
Let them go for Senate. He did great for us in the preseason.
Nah, he didn't do too good for us.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Let Dallas go for him.
But they got their starting quarterback now, but then they also got a few different options and stuff like that. So I don't see them looking for him. I see them looking more or less for like a Jimmy G, Jimmy Garoppolo, or somebody like that. They even was talking about Mason Rudolph, the dude that got hit in the head with the helmet for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They was talking about him, getting him or something like that. But I don't see neither one of them being a savior. I don't see Cam Newton being a savior. I don't see Colin Kaepernick being a savior. I don't see none of them right there being a savior for the Cowboys. They just got to stick with what they got and try to ride it out.
Well, see, for one, with me, I didn't see Dallas as much of a threat because of them getting rid of one receiver. What's his name?
Lamb.
What was it?
You said they only are getting rid of their receiver, or they only have one receiver?
No, they got rid of that one receiver.
Cooper.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper.
Because he always gave us a problem.
But
But
not with this defensive back set that we have, or should I say core that we have. I don't see nobody giving us a problem but our coaching staff. That's our biggest competition every week. I don't see no wide receiver core being able to score the DBs that we have, especially Epps, the way that he coming up popping and stuff like that. But go ahead. I'm gonna let you get in your point. We almost out of here. We got a couple of more things to talk about.
But also, I'm just worried about Washington because since Carson is back in our division, he's going to feel like he has something to prove, especially against us. And we know he's going to throw his interceptions and everything else, but I have a feeling he's going to try to get back to be the Carson Wentz he was in 2017. And if he's that quarterback, then we're going to have a lot of problems with him.
I don't see that one. I don't see him coming back. But I see your
Not
point.
like that.
Only thing that I'll elaborate to on your point with him having a chip on his shoulder, this is his last landing spot. If he's going to be a good backup quarterback if this doesn't work out. Ain't no team's going to take a chance on him. But then also in his defense, looking yesterday with Matt Ryan, he didn't look like the coach didn't look like Carson Wentz was the problem at all.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, if this doesn't work out
ahead.
for Carson Wentz, I think he just retires. I don't see him going for a backup.
Yeah, I think he'll be a backup. He don't have no choice. I think he'll want to do out his contracts that he's owed and then capitalize on the league minimum for the vet minimum, should I say, for him being a backup. He don't have to play, but he can still get a few million every year, you know what I mean, sitting on the bench or whatnot. So I feel that that's a route he'll go with. But speaking on Carson Wentz, let's talk about same faces in some new places. Far as like Wentz, what did y'all see from him yesterday in the highlights, ESPN or anything like that? And then we can jump on to Matt Ryan, Baker Mayfield, and Russell Wilson right now, since we're talking about the quarterbacks. Did y'all see any of them besides Russell Wilson? He playing now. Any of those highlights yesterday? Did y'all see them doing any good in their or bad in their new uniforms?
I didn't watch any of the highlights actually.
Like I saw some of the highlights, and once again, though they're highlights. So Carson looked pretty good with his passes and his decision making and utilizing his young talent. And who was the other quarterback that you said made with the switch?
Baker Mayfield and Matt Ryan.
Baker Mayfield and Matt Ryan. All right, Matt Ryan yesterday looked like just Matt Ryan to me, just on a different team, you know. But can't really say that because Atlanta still ain't pull out the W.
They ended up with a tie.
Right. And then Baker Mayfield, I didn't see that game, but Baker, what was he on? Carolina?
Carolina.
Yeah.
Panthers.
So I saw some of the highlights, and I felt like he could have won that game.
Yeah.
He definitely could have won that game. I don't know what happened because I didn't watch the game, but you know, I felt like Baker Mayfield could have did better. And that's all I got on that one.
Yeah, I was watching the games yesterday with the little NFL ticket where I'm able to watch multiple ones on the screen. So I was able to check out a few games. And what you said about Matt Ryan was basically, you could say the same thing for Baker Mayfield.
Right.
Baker Mayfield was being Baker Mayfield yesterday, you know, trying to do too much. And then also he had a lot of things going on his shoulders with him playing his old team yesterday and stuff like that. So I feel that out of those, Wentz did the best out of those four so far, besides Russell Wilson. He playing against his old team also, so he got a lot of on his shoulder also. So I feel that that will be the best one of the week. It's going to end up being Carson Wentz. And I also forgot about Julio Jones. Julio Jones did pretty good yesterday. I was watching the Dallas game, and he hit a couple of passes. Tyreek Hill did pretty good. But I feel Out of Devontae Adams too. I feel Devontae Adams did a little better than Tyreek Hill, but I feel my off season acquisition, besides anybody off the Eagles, I feel that it will be Khalil Mack. Y'all see what he did for the Chargers yesterday against the Raiders?
Yeah, I saw that, and I know you personally. You pay a little bit more attention to those games, for your own reasons.
Oh yeah,
You know
for the
what
wife and everything. The wife
Yes,
love,
sir. So I
pops.
saw that game too, and my cousin, he's a Chargers fan. I was. That was a good pickup for them. Khalil Mack was a good move for them. You know, yeah, that was dope. His the difference between him and Tyreek Hill, yeah, his just route running is just crazy. Devontae
Ridiculous.
Adams, and obviously Tyreek Hill got that speed, so it's hard to compare them two. But just what he's able to do and create openings, Devontae, I take that skill over speed, if that make any sense.
Facts.
You know
Facts.
what I
Facts.
mean? His
Facts.
footwork is immaculate. So he's dope. He's up there. So I'm excited to see what the rest of the season how the rest of the season turn out.
Hop on, Alan. What do you think about the acquisitions that I was just mentioning? Wentz, Matt Ryan, Mayfield, Devontae Adams, Tariq Hill, Khalil Mack. What do you think about those off-season moves right there that you
I
seen
wasn't re-
yesterday, or if you
I
watched them
wasn't
or anything?
really able to hear what you guys were saying because my dogs were barking too much.
All right, we understand that. Doing podcasts, we understand. It's live TV.
I have 6 of them, so they make a lot of noise sometimes, especially playing.
All right, so we gonna end this podcast. I'm gonna give y'all both the floor right now. I'm gonna let Alan go, and then I'm gonna let Cass go, and then I'll end it. Give us your keys to next week's victory that we got to make adjustments. Elaborate on a few things that we need to button up to get the win against the Vikings next week.
Tighter defense with not giving so much space and cushion, and giving Hurts more time in the backfield to be able to give more plays, quicker passing, like with slant, and better running plays. And I think we'll be okay with that.
Cass, you want to hop on?
Yeah, next week, man, we gonna listen. That defense that we played in the second half is not gonna work against Minnesota, especially out of all the receivers who put up over 100 points this first week. Who was number one, if y'all know?
Yes, sir.
So, and that's exactly who we play next week. So that playing back 10 yards, 20 yards, I mean, that might be a better strategy. But we definitely don't he was killing the slant, he was killing those routes that was killing us in this last game. So I definitely don't want to see that happen again next week. I want to utilize the run game some more. Because that just adds an extra weapon. We got the RPO, like you said, if you ain't running the ball, it takes away from the RPO and the play action. And we need the play action for it's crucial, especially for our offense. He could get the ball deep. We know you could do that, so we got to utilize the run. We gotta keep Minnesota on their toes because they play hard. They don't slack. And we gotta fill that void with Derek Barnett.
Correct.
We gotta get that situated like today,
Big facts.
so we can start practicing next week, and getting ready for next week's game. So that's what I feel like will be the keys to our victory against next week.
Big facts. And I'm gonna end it right here. I feel same thing that you guys both mentioned. The keys to us winning next week is running the ball. Tighten up, getting quicker hits with passing routes. You know what I mean? Make sure these routes are quick hit routes. Run a little more screens, bubble screens for the tight end, for the running backs, for the wide receivers. Do things that can get the ball to your playmakers without having to sit in the pocket and wait for them to get open when you're getting no kind of protection from the offensive line. You know what I mean? So I feel that we can win this game if we stick to our route and as running the ball and on defense, giving pressure on the defensive line and putting pressure on the D line. I mean, the O line. I feel that we can win this game easily next week if we do those things and do not run that prevent zone defense, or if we do tighten it up, bring them in closer. You know what I mean? Let them run in less space. So once again, I want to thank y'all. For tuning in. We just we two dudes, that love Eagles football, just sitting on here, two regular dudes talking football. This ain't no mainstream. This ain't nothing. This just some regular podcast. Two Eagles fans, few Eagles fans out here talking Eagles football. You know what I mean? So we greatly appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll be back next week on Tuesday. And I think I'm going to move it to Tuesdays. We're doing the podcast. Give us a little more digestive time to sit back and talk about, the week, the game and everything. And then we can just go ahead and talk about it on Tuesdays. But I want to thank y'all again, Thunder Fresh, tuning in, and my boy Alan, my boy Cass. I greatly appreciate y'all joining the panel. And then till next week, man, we greatly appreciate y'all. Go Birds.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, bro. I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah. I think Tuesday would be a good thing because like Monday Night Football is on right now.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. And I think we just need to push it to Tuesday. And I feel it'll be a better time. We get a better audience. More participation, stuff like that. You know what I mean? And this is the first week. I'm glad we did it. You know what I mean? And it happened the way we happened. We got to work out the kinks. Talk about football, and then at the same time, it give us all a little more time to do our due diligence. Look at stats. Next week we're gonna pull up stats. We're gonna do all that. You know what I mean? So let's talk Eagles football, man. Until next week. I greatly appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
Fly Eagles fly.
Fly Eagles fly.